Hello, my friends. This is Dr. Ginny Barrow. Welcome to Start the Day with Ginny. I wanted to share with you a couple of events that I went through this week that I believe would serve you for me to talk about. And the topic is communication. How are your communication skills? When I was growing up and I was deciding what to study in school, in college, I remember going to my dad, Joe, sitting at the dining room table with him and having a conversation about what I wanted to study. And I said to my dad, Dad, I think I want to study communications. And my dad back then looked at me with this look on his face like, oh, honey, I don't think communication would be a good major for you. And what he meant was that I had only been in the country for 3 years then. I was a junior in high school, and I barely spoke English. So my dad, who was an adult, he kind of fell for me, right? Because he saw in my eyes that I wanted to do this communications major thing. And he was like, I don't think that's going to pan out for you, sweetheart. And he said it with love and compassion. And I'm so grateful that my dad steered me in a different direction. So I went to college and I studied computer science and economics instead. And I loved my career in computer science. And I graduated, became a programmer. But from the minute I graduated from college and I set my sights on my new dream, because back when I started high school, my dream was to break the cycle of poverty. When I graduated from college, my new dream was to become a leader. And I knew that to be a good leader, I looked around me, communication was going to be so fundamental. And so what I did back then in 1991, I joined Toastmasters. Toastmasters, it's an international organization, and many companies have access to Toastmasters. There's usually a local chapter by you. When I joined Toastmasters at Prudential, I began to practice how to deliver speeches, how to get in front of people and give a talk, and how to impromptu speak. And it's funny because yesterday during one of my presentations, someone said, I have a really hard time impromptu speaking. When I'm put on the spot, if you give me an hour to prepare, I will do great. But if you just ask me a question in the moment, I stumble. I don't know what to say. So I coached my client during that time when she brought that up. So why am I bringing this topic up of communication? I don't care where in your career you are. If you can communicate your ideas powerfully, you can influence people to get those ideas implemented. When you are struggling to get your ideas across, when you're not connecting the dots for people as you communicate and as you see the vision, then the people are not going to be able to follow you because they don't get where you're going. You're not articulating for them the vision, the mission that you feel and see for the organization and for the team. And so, regardless of where you are in your career, and especially if you are a leader, having impactful communication skills is extremely important. So I want to give you a couple of interesting strategies around your communication. And this is something that I learned from Jane Hansen, who is an Emmy Award winner and a colleague of mine whom I met through LinkedIn and who taught me these things. And I help my clients with these things too, because without this kind of intention to improve your communication skills, another year will go by and you will be in the same place. And you may be questioning, how come I'm not being selected for certain roles? Or how come when I raise my hand, I am not being given opportunities? And in some cases, it has a lot to do with how we are being perceived. And it's part of our personal brand, whether or not we are good communicators. So if you're looking to enhance your personal brand and become an impactful and influential communicator, looking at your communication skills, verbal, nonverbal, written, it's extremely important. I think I honed that point, didn't I? Okay, so let's keep moving. So the number one thing that I want you to think about is the three things that Jane taught me. Who's your audience? What is your message? And what is the style that you are going to use to deliver your message? Those are really key things. The other thing that I want to show you that's very important is a framework that Pete Vargas taught me. And the framework goes like this. When you speak, make sure that you start with the heart. Share something from your heart. And it can be something about the team, about the company, about the group, about when you started, about who supported you when you began at the company that you're at. Tell the audience in your message a heart story when you start. And it can be about them. It doesn't have to be a personal heart story. That's going to connect you to your audience by the heartstrings. The second piece is to go into the head. So heart, head, intellect. Tell me what the problem is, orient me, what's going on. What are we trying to solve here? What is the gap we're looking to fill as a team, as a company? What kind of products are we looking to develop because there is a need in the marketplace? Orient your audience to what is the problem through the head, the intellect. That's where you share all the charts and the statistics and what the data analytics say. All of that happens in the part of your speech that's about the head. The next one is the hands. Tell people what to do after they hear you speak. So in every single case when I give a speech, I always leave my audience with a call to action, which is go to this private page and download your resources so you can work on the exercises that I showed you. That's the hands. And then we always finish with the heart again. So we make a heart sandwich. And the heart is a warm story to leave them inspired to take action. So I always close my talks with the heart story. And typically what I do is I will start with a heart story and then I will close that story at the end. So if I talk about what happened where I was trying to pick my major, then I will conclude this video, this talk, with what happened afterwards and how I've been able to use whatever that was about in my life and in my career, and how I now use my communication skills, which were lacking at 14 years old and 18 when I graduated from high school. And now I make a living partially public speaking and communicating. So ultimately, I achieved my dream of having a communications career, except that I took a 30-year detour and here I am again. And it was the knowledge that I acquired through my technology, computer science, financial services experience that allows me to now speak in Fortune 500 companies to audiences about what I speak about: leadership development, developing women to advance in their leadership roles, because I have a context having worked in those environments for 30 years. As you can see, the framework of heart, head, hands, and heart is a framework you can begin to use when you do your speeches. And if you combine what Jane Hanson taught me, which is know your audience, who are they, what is their wisdom, what's in it for me, tailor your message to your audience. And part of tailoring your message is how I describe that framework. You can use that framework and ensure that what you're sharing in your message is relevant to your audience. And then pick your style. Are you going to be formal or are you going to be informal? If you're presenting to the board, most likely very formal. You may have PowerPoints, you may have handouts. If it's your team, it's very informal. You may have a few bullets on a piece of paper to keep you on track, and that's all you need. And so with this framework and this structure to tailor your talks, you can become a more influential speaker, and you can help shape what people think and do after they listen to you. And that, my friends, is how we become more influential and are able to lead, engage, and influence our teams into doing constructive activities that lead us to our ultimate goal. If this is helpful for you, please share this video, share this podcast with your colleagues, with your friends. If you need a speaker to join you for an upcoming event at your organization, I will be more than happy to have a nice chat with you about it and learn what is your objective and ensure that we craft a customized talk for your audience. And if you need to connect with me for whatever reason, I am at callwithginny.com. Live with purpose, live with joy,